Let's start. We'll start with the prayer, three omkars and the prayer. Keeping your eyes closed, joining your hands in Namaskar Mudra, try to bring your complete awareness and attention to the session. Make an intention to be completely present and available for the session. Taking a deep breath in, we will begin to chant Omkar three times. Inhale. Om. Inhale. Om. Inhale. Om. Sahana bhavatu. Sahanau bhunaktu. Saha viryam karavavahai. Tejasvinavadhitamastu ma vidvishavahai. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Shri Guru Pyo Namah. So you open your eyes. Right. Okay. So yesterday we discussed stiffness, and not just of the body, but of breath and also the mind. Today we will talk about burnout. We will talk about the journey from burnout to breath. Like yesterday, we talked about the journey from stiffness to steadiness. Today, we will talk about from burnout to breath. And what is the tool that we have? That tool is pranayam. How we can use pranayam to basically reset our nervous system. Okay, so we will talk about about this. So imagine that you have a pot of milk, okay, and you've kept it on the stove to heat. What happens if you do not pay attention to it? It overflows. It boils, and then ultimately what happens? It overflows. So think of life like a pot of milk heating on the stove. Every responsibility, every task, every stressor is like adding more heat. And why does the milk overflow? Because one, you do not pay attention to it. And two, you do not stir it. If you keep stirring it, the milk won't overflow, right? So if you don't stir the pot, or if you forget to watch it, the milk boils over. And let's say this is what burnout feels like. This is burnout. What is that in our day to day life? How does it feel like? It's like too much of doing, too much of doing, and not just too much of doing, but without presence. So it is like too much of doing with too little presence and no space to cool down. That's what burnout feels like. So, three things I'm saying to describe burnout. One, too much of doing. Two, too little presence. And three, no space to cool down. No space to cool down. Now, imagine instead you keep gently stirring the pot, the milk, I mean, not the pot. What happens? It won't overflow, it won't heat over. Or say you reduce the flame, isn't it? You reduce the flame. Again, there are chances that it will not burn over. Or you keep watching it. And whenever needed, you stir. Whenever you needed, you reduce the flame. Now, let's say our breath, it is like that spoon that stirs the pot of milk. When we use the breath, we prevent emotional and mental overflow. We regulate before we crash. Getting this? So, if we just remember this analogy, we will understand what burnout is. We will understand what breath does to the burnout. A simple thing to remember. Breath is like a spoon which stirs the milk and it prevents the overflow. Okay, so keeping this in mind, we will go ahead with today's session. Like all these 6 sessions, I am not giving or I am not focusing on a lot of technical information from texts or scriptures. What we are discussing is very simple things that we can apply immediately in life. Okay. So, what we are saying is burnout. Now, burnout is not just okay. Let me ask you. You all can type. What is burnout for you? What are the words that you can think about when you think of burnout? Exhausted, exhausted, mental and physical exhaustion. Yes, feeling overwhelmed, mental heaviness, energy drain. Yes, fatigue. It is doing beyond capacity. Correct. Tiredness, lack of desire of working and vulnerability. All right. Yes. Lack of concentration. Yes. All of these are either symptoms of burnout or they are the results of burnout. Correct? Things getting out of control, unmanageable. Yes. So feeling overwhelmed all the time. It is that milk boiling and anytime it will just spill. So let's understand that burnout is not just tiredness. It's exhaustion. And it is that kind of exhaustion which even sleep cannot fix. That is burnout. In fact, you feel that no amount of sleep is enough. I sleep, 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 but I still feel that I'm deprived. I'm sleep deprived. So, burnout is not just tiredness. In fact, it is something which even sleep cannot fix. So, we say it is a chronic depletion of your physical, mental, and emotional energy. And more than that, it often, like someone said, it often goes uncontrolled. You feel you're not in control. And the sad thing is that it often also goes unnoticed until something breaks. So let's see how burnout shows up. Like I said, whatever all of you wrote, they are symptoms of burnout. So let's see how it shows up. First, dullness, emotional dullness, or overwhelm. You feel either numb or shut down, like in some situations you just don't know, or you don't feel like reacting, nothing is affecting you, unable to experience joy, excitement, or even sadness fully. It's like you're functioning but not really there, not present. That's why I said in the beginning, it is too much of doing with too little presence. So it is emotional dullness and overwhelm. Yes, mechanical. You've heard of the word brain fog, which is very commonly heard these days. So you have trouble concentrating. You forget simple things, or you feel like your thinking is cloudy and it is slow. It's difficult to be productive. It's difficult to be creative. Then this is also a condition of low grade anxiety. There is anxiety. It's low grade anxiety. So there is a constant um, sense of tension under the surface. Even if there is nothing specific to worry about, your mind is always scanning for the next problem. Okay, is everything all right? Is everything all right? There is this constant worry under the surface. Then now, how does this burnout show up in breathing? There is shallow, irregular breathing. Most of the times, when you inhale, your belly moves in, and when you exhale, it moves out. This is what shallow breathing. What should happen to the belly when you breathe in? It should go out, not in. What happens to the balloon when you fill it with air? It shrinks or it expands? It expands. Same thing should happen to the belly. Like a balloon, when you fill air into it, it needs to expand. But because there is so much into your system already, there is crunch for space. So you suck it in. So you breathe only through the upper chest. This is shallow breathing, irregular breathing. We are often unaware of how tight or rushed our breath is. Breathing, as I said, becomes upper chest based and completely disconnected from awareness. You're not aware of how I'm breathing. Nothing. Yes, it is a involuntary process, so it happens. This is how burnout shows up in breathing. Then there is physical fatigue. There are digestion issues. Burnout also shows up through your body like that. I may feel tired even after resting. And then the digestion becomes sluggish. You feel bloated because the body is not in rest mode, but it is in stress mode. And so what happens? We often say, we often use this term, na, I just need a break. I need a break. I need to unwind. But the question here is, why do we wind first to unwind? Why is there this winding? So, what we need is not a break, but what we really need is a reset. Okay, and that reset is through the breath. Breath is the tool that will reset the system. Let's say there is a vehicle. Okay, there is a vehicle, car. So let's say my body is the car. Then the nervous system in that car is the gearbox. It's the gearbox. And my breath is the liver, gear liver. Okay. And then there are two major gears in our autonomic nervous system. The first gear is sympathetic nervous system, and the second gear is parasympathetic nervous system. Now, sympathetic nervous system, this is your fight or flight gear. It prepares your body to face danger, to act quickly, to survive. It increases heart rate. It raises alertness. It is needed. And while it does all of this, it raises alertness, increases heart rate, it prepares the body to act quickly, to survive in danger. While it is doing all this, it slows digestion. Why it slows digestion? So that you can focus on the emergency situation at hand. Your body is not busy digesting, but it is ready for facing the danger. Now, if this happens when needed, in small doses, then this is good, this is healthy, and this is necessary. Now, there is a second gear, parasympathetic nervous system. This is what? This is your rest and digest gear. Sympathetic nervous system is fight or flight gear. Parasympathetic is rest and digest gear. What it does exactly opposite of what sympathetic system does. It slows down the heart rate. It enhances repair and recovery. And it is where healing and rejuvenation happens. Now, in burnout, one is stuck in sympathetic condition. Sympathetic overdrive, they say. There is sympathetic overdrive. Like I said, sympathetic nervous system kicking in small doses when needed is healthy and it is necessary. But what if one is stuck in sympathetic overdrive? What will happen? The body, mind, breath are constantly, continuously preparing to face danger. And they are constantly in alert mode. So digestion is slowed down, the heart rate is high, blood pressure is high, there is stress level. This is sympathetic overdrive. The body can't find the switch to rest or reset. So remember the first example of milk boiling. What is happening here? The flame under the pot, it keeps rising with this sympathetic overdrive. But now here we have the the gift that yoga offers. You cannot control the gears directly, sympathetic and parasympathetic nervous systems. You can't press a button, and tell your nervous system to switch gears. But you can move the liver. And what is that liver? Your breath. Your breath is your liver. So slow, conscious breathing. It signals, it gives signal to the brain what you are safe, all is well. It 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 brings down or it down regulates the stress response and it allows you to shift gears from survival mode to restoration mode. And this is why we are saying breath is the gateway to balance. Breath is the gateway to find that balance that will help you come out from this situation of burnout. In yoga, pranayama is such a practice which we are saying it is a reset. Pran and ayam. Pran, the life force, energy. Ayam. Ayam is also dimension. But here, the meaning of the whole word pranayam is expansion of life force, extension or expansion. It's not just breath control, but it is the expansion of the life giving energy, not just breath. But before you do pranayam, or before we actually understand and connect with this life giving energy, the first step is to observe breath because breath is the vehicle, breath is the channel that carries energy. Breath is not prana. However, it is a vehicle of prana. So we said that in burnout, we breathe shallow from the upper chest. We breathe too fast. Then we tend to hold the breath many times under stress. Fourth, we do not complete our exhalation. And fifth, our breath is completely disconnected from awareness. We are just not aware about all of these things that are happening to our breath. Now, as opposed to, so this is what happens in burnout state, which is what sympathetic overdrive. Okay, when the sympathetic nervous system is active constantly, even in sleep. That's why we are saying burnout is a condition which even sleep is not able to fix, because that sympathetic overdrive continues there. And so, even after getting up, even after sleeping for 9 hours, I still feel sleep deprived. So, this is what happens to the breath in sympathetic overdrive or burnout condition. Breathing through upper chest, then breathing too fast, not completing the exhalation, holding the breath under stress, and the breath is disconnected. We are not aware of breathing. Now, as opposed to this, in the recovery phase, recovery, again, if we have to connect it to the example of milk and pot, what is that recovery phase? When you start stirring the milk in the pot, that is the recovery phase. Or you are standing there and watching the flame, or you are regulating the burner, you are reducing the flame. That is recovery. So, what happens in recovery? We breathe consciously. So, the fifth point, that we are not aware of breathing. Here, there is conscious breathing. We are breathing deep and slow. There is no shallow and fast breathing. We exhale fully and we come back, rather, our breath brings us back to the present, to the now. Understanding this, breath brings us back to now. In burnout, when the breath is shallow and fast, when the mind is always alert, what happens to it? It is racing ahead. It's always racing ahead of time. There is one more symptom of it. We feel the tension in the jaw and face. Jaw is tight, face is tensed. And this burnout is like, it leaks energy. But when we use this tool of breath, which is like a spoon that stirs the milk, the breath becomes deep, slow. From alert mode, we come to relaxed parasympathetic tone. The mind is grounded in the moment. So the mind is grounded in the moment. Face is soft. And more than that, the throat is open. Your voice changes. And energy is like, it's not leaking. It is in fact contained. You contain energy. It is replenished. It is not, there are no energy leaks in recovery condition. Okay. Now, one may ask, what type of breathing practice should we be then doing? Now we come to the what and how part of it, which is very important. Frankly speaking, we don't need to spend like 30 minutes, 40 minutes, 45 minutes a day for pranayam practice. If you are able to do that, it is good. But we cannot give that reason that I don't have time, this much time for pranayam practice, and so I can't do it. That's why I'm saying we don't need this. I'm going to share three, um, what should I say? We need three pauses in the day. Okay. We need three pauses in the day, 30 seconds for one pause. So, how many seconds do we need in the day? 90 seconds in the day. What are those three pauses? One pause before a meal. Pause before a meal. Second, pause before a meeting or any crucial discussion, any crucial conversation. And third is pause before sleep. Okay. So what are we saying? Before a meal, before a meeting, and before sleep. Now, what is that pause like? How will that pause be like? What will we do in that pause? There is a story. I'm just remembering it suddenly. So there was this boy, 10-year-old boy, who used to get very angry. And like in today's jargon, he had anger issues. Okay. So he was just not able to control. And his mother would tell him daily, I have been telling you to count 10 before you take action, before you start hitting the other person. But you start shouting and you don't even stop there. You actually start hitting. So please take pause and count 10 in your mind. Okay. And then the boy says, yes, mom, now I'm going to do this. It's my promise. And then the very same day in the evening, when the mother is returning from office, she finds this boy in the parking lot. His there is another boy who is sleeping on the ground, and this boy is sitting on top of his chest. Okay, and he's just sitting there. Now this mother runs to this boy and tells him, what's happening? I told you that you should be counting 10 before you start hitting. And then he says, yes, I'm doing the same thing. I'm counting 10 before I start hitting. I'm following what you are telling. I'm taking a pause and I'm going to count 10. And once my 10 counts are over, I will start hitting. Okay. So we are not talking about a pause like this. Okay. So we take a pause before a meeting, before a meal, before sleep. But what do we do in that pause? So we are saying, let breath become our pause. Let it become our reset button. See, when there is a very naughty child who does something very naughty, and he tries to hide it from everyone. But the moment you turn your face and look at that child, he stops. He stops doing all of those things. Our breath is like that. The moment you start observing it, it just slows down. It does nothing, as if, no, I'm not doing anything. I didn't do anything. That's what our breath says. So what is the deal here? What do we do in that pause? We watch the breath. That's it. And we do nothing in that pause. And three pauses, 30 seconds only. Okay. Let's do this right now. Okay. So wherever you are seated, just make yourself little more comfortable. We will do this little longer. Okay. So we understand the power of breath, not 30 seconds. If you are wearing spectacles, keep your spectacles aside. If you are sitting on the chair, it's okay. Continue doing that. And when you feel prepared, drop the eyelids gently and close your eyes. If you find it difficult to close the eyes instantly, you may open and close your eyelids 3, 4 times. And after that, they would feel like dropping down on their own. They'll become heavy and the eyes will be closed. Now just observe what's happening to your belly when you take the breath in. Begin to consciously breathe into your abdomen. Pause for a moment at the end of inhalation and then breathe out of your abdomen. One more time. Breathe into your abdomen. Let the abdomen expand. Pause for a moment and breathe out of your abdomen. Now move your awareness towards the rib cage. And now, as you breathe in, feel the abdomen expanding and also feel the in breath pushing the rib cage away, expanding it. Breathing out, relax the rib cage and observe the belly slowly moving in. Continue, breathe in, abdomen expands, rib cage expands. Pause for a moment and breathing out, soften your rib cage. Let the belly move in. Now move your awareness towards the upper part of the chest. Upper chest reaching up to the collarbones. As you breathe in, your abdomen expands. You breathe into the rib cage and feel that upper chest lifting up slightly, gently. And as you exhale, soften that upper chest, the rib cage, and the belly. Do this on your own for the next 2 minutes. Now, slowly bring your awareness back to the body from breath. Gently rub your palms over each other. Place your palms on your eyes. And if you feel ready, you can open your eyes. Okay. Now I'm going to give you a prompt. It's like how we write a journal. Those of you who can type, I would like you all to complete that sentence. So the sentence is, when I listen to my breath today, I noticed what? You have to write that. It's not needed that you type it in the chat box. It's not that I want to read it. There isn't anything right or wrong, but reflect. Slowness, peace. I noticed a presence of moment of me. Yes, I noticed calmness, rhythm, calmness, rhythm. Okay, mind is still, silence. It slowed down and experienced pause, more focus, peace, deep breathing. Yes, presence and calmness. Right. So, isn't all of this opposite of burnout? All the symptoms that the breath shows in burnout are taken away when you observe the breath. It slowed down my mind, but I also started getting lots of burps. Not sure why. Okay. I felt like my body needed this much of a fresh air. Yes. So, burp, since we are talking about it. Okay. Varsha also noticed how shallow I was breathing before. Yes. So the awareness comes. My mind was wandering with thoughts, so was difficult to focus. That is all fine. Okay. So two things have come up here which I would like to talk about. I'll first talk about this. My mind was wandering with thoughts, so it was difficult to focus. Now, what are we trying to do here? We are not trying to focus. There is no effort needed to focus. If the mind goes behind one thought or multiple thoughts, we have to understand that it is the nature of the mind to go behind thoughts. There isn't anything wrong happening there. It is the nature of the mind. It is going to think and it is going to go behind thoughts. If we have to do something, then what we have to do is we don't have to make efforts towards pushing those thoughts away. That's not the effort needed. The effort, if at all the effort is needed, then it is about again thinking about breath. If the mind wants to think about something else, think about breath. If the mind again wants to think about something else, think about breath. This is something which means practice. It will not happen like this. Okay, now I get it. No. These 30 seconds, three times a day, these three pauses are not to be done for 1 day, 2 days, 3 days. No. This this needs to become our second nature. It's like when you build this habit. Whenever I sit for meal, I take a pause and breathe. Whenever I'm going to start a very crucial conversation, I take a pause and breathe. Whenever I'm going to sleep, I take a pause and breathe. Even if I don't feel like doing it, I still do it. That's called discipline. If I forget to do it today and I remember it tomorrow, I will resume the practice. I will not wait for some ideal day, some yoga day to resume the practice. This is what discipline is. This is what yoga is all about. Yoga is nothing else. It is what Anushasan, Atha Yoga Anushasanam. Then it is what Dirghakala Nirantar Abhyas. And when one does this Dirghakala and Nirantar Abhyas, what happens? There is Prayatna Shaithilya. There is effortlessness that comes. So you internalize the practice. The practice is not something that you have to now sit and do. It You internalize it, and then that becomes your default. Okay, and it will become default only and only if we practice. Okay, now someone said that she had burps. Okay, now what what does this indicate? Okay, I'm not evaluating anything, but this is just FYI for more information. Okay, as we are talking about pran and pranayam and breath. According to yogic anatomy, there is pran, which is the main life force. There are four other types of vayus, pancha prana: prana, apana, samana, udana, vyana. We will not get into the details, but these are five vayus. Then there are five upapranas also. There is naga, kurma, krikala, devadatta, and dhananjay. These are five upapranas. And interestingly, each of these five pranas are responsible for some or the other function in the body. Okay, so Naga, Kurma, Krikala, Devadatta, and Dhananjaya. Now, this Nag Pran, this is the cause of hiccups. Hiccups. When the air element is it when the air element is agitated, Nag becomes active and it tries to throw the agitated air out of the stomach. Then there is Kurma. Kurma is the cause of blinking the eyes, and it keeps the eyes healthy, moist, and protected. Then there is Krikala. This is the cause for yawning, hunger, and thirst. It also assists respiration to some extent. Then there is Devadatta. This is the cause of sneezing and it again aids in respiration. And there is Dhananjaya. Dhananjaya, it pervades the whole body and it's related to the organ of touch, basically. So it influences the work of the muscles, arteries and veins, and the skin. So when you consciously are watching breath, maybe your body internally is trying to adjust something with these upapranas also. So it probably happened. Okay. So what are we saying? Again, going back, we were talking about three pauses in the day, 30 seconds to 1 minute each pause. So we have to take out only 90 seconds to 3 minutes in the whole day. to begin with. So is this doable? It is doable. What is the challenge? Hmm? What's the challenge here? We all are saying it is doable, but will we do it? What's the challenge? Finding the peaceful environment. Okay. Actually doing without excuses. Yes. You don't need peaceful environment to do this. Okay. You just need to do it anywhere you're sitting. Anywhere. Because you need 1 minute. Discipline. Yes, that's a challenge. Remembering it. Okay. Yes, it is a challenge. Actually doing without excuses. We don't prioritize. Yes, remembering, being aware of it, remembering at the right time, following it every day, discipline, no challenge, just a reminder, commitment and discipline, trust. Yes, making it as a habit. It will become a habit when you do it multiple times. Okay, it will become a habit. Yes, so two main challenges. One, remembering to do it, and two, actually consistently doing it. Every day without fail, I do it. Okay, now let's find the solution also. I'm not going to give any solution to you. Like you came up with the challenges. Now, I'm sure who knows the challenges has a solution also. So what can be done to remember? This is what I do. I will tell you what I do. Remembering was a challenge for me also, and doing it daily was a challenge for me also. Now, this is what I have done. I have found out, or I have identified some daily non-negotiable activities that I do. And I have attached these 30 seconds. I have added these 30 seconds to that activity. Getting this? For example, brushing my teeth. Okay. Or I sit, I sit in my car daily. Now, when I get into the car, I sit and 30 seconds. I've added. Getting this? So find out some non-negotiable activities that you do and add 30 seconds to those activities. So this has worked for me. So right now I'm doing this. And then when I started doing this, then I came up with these three pauses, which really worked wonders for me. Before meal, before sleep, and before a crucial conversation. But I started with these pauses, identifying these activities. So, this is what has worked for me. If you can find out something else, some other solution, then please share. Find out, or you can think of. It could be just an idea. It's not that you started implementing it, but an idea. Anyone has any thoughts? I started traditional prayers. Yes, that's also okay. Traditional prayers. Yes. Before you look at mobile, again you need to remember it. Before log into computer. Okay, yes. When I enter office before starting the day. Great. So yes, try to identify something which you do daily. You will not forget that thing. Try to identify that. So you will remember this also and try to club it with with that thing. Okay, so do this again. I would say if you're doing traditional prayers, add breathing to it. Okay, because at times when we do that day in day out, like every day when you're doing traditional prayers, you're not really mindful about it at times. You chant it mechanically again, the prayer. So if it is not happening to you, it's okay. Okay, I'm not saying that but breathing again, watching the breath is completely different that we are talking about the nervous system reset, and the prayer has its own impact. I'm not denying that. In fact, uh, I know what kind of impact it has. But add 30 seconds of mindful breathing, maybe before or after the prayer when you watch your breath. All right, great. So now we are towards the end of the session. What we have discussed so far, we tried to understand what burnout is, what are the symptoms of the burnout. Remember that analogy of the milk boiling, and what we have to do is to regulate the flame or to keep stirring the milk in the pot so that it doesn't overflow. Then we have two gears, sympathetic, parasympathetic, which is the gear box, and the liver is the breath. We use that liver because we don't have direct access to sympathetic and parasympathetic system. We do not have a switch that can just switch on the parasympathetic response when we need it. So we use our breath, and we have identified three pauses I have suggested before a meeting, before a meal, and before sleep. But before we start this practice, if you want to attach it to something else that you are already doing, then add 30 seconds or 1 minute to that activity and start observing the breath just the way you did now. There is no great technique for it. Just begin to observe it. Okay. So we are saying burnout is not, it is, let's not take it as a flaw. Burnout is not a flaw, it's a signal. And when the body, it's a signal we have to listen to when the body is whispering before it actually screams aloud. So I hope this journey from burnout to breath, and how our simple practice of this is a simplest practice of pranayam, which can do wonders to reset the nervous system. But only and only if it is done dirgha kala, continuously and nirantara, without any break. We should not consider this as a course of some antibiotic. It's not a medicine for some disease that we have. It is a practice again that is going to uh, enrich our life. It's going to enrich our experience of daily living. It's like that. Okay, fine. Tomorrow we'll meet again for a session on your body and alignment. So, how to align with the body's wisdom and not against it. This is what we will discuss tomorrow. So, I will chant the closing prayer. If you have questions, we'll take after the prayer. ॐ पूर्णमदः पूर्णमिदं पूर्णात् पूर्णमुदच्यते पूर्णस्य पूर्णमादाय पूर्णमेवावशिष्यते ॐ शान्तिः शान्तिः शान्तिः। हरिः ॐ श्रीगुरुभ्यो नमः। हरिः ॐ। क्यू